Ooh, Internet Nation. Alex and Ashley here with a fun video for you. I don't know why I was so excited. That's not true. I'm always excited. And today's video isn't that fun. It's more so educational. So yeah, let's get into it. So, today I want to tell you guys about my microdermal piercing, which is right here on my, I don't know what that part of the body is called. Sternum? Chest? It's not the collarbones, and it's not on the throat. It's like right on the crevice. Let's see if I can. Right below the dip of the neck. It depends on my body is not straight, so it's never in the correct place, but it is adorable. Let me back up. Okay, now you can see my face. So yeah, I got this like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I know it's a little late to be making this video when it's basically, I don't want to say healed because you can never tell. But anyway, I'm making this video, and this is possibly the only video I've done about a piercing by itself in general. And that's because this particular piercing I've been putting off for like 2 years. I've always wanted one. I originally wanted to get a corset piercing on my back where my tattoo is, but the only option when I wanted to do that were like surface piercings, and those have a very high rejection rate, and I wanted to make sure that I got something that was idiot proof, I guess is the best way of describing that, because, you know, I'm not an idiot, but I do interact with a lot of idiots in my life, and the last thing I need is some asshole who has the thought that, hey, wouldn't it be funny for me to pull this and then rip your flesh out, and then we can't be friends anymore because you made me have to bury your body. But I digress. I settled for the tattoo because that's more permanent and I guess less cost efficient. So, let me get into the fun details so you guys can know all the fun details, I suppose. Pain-wise, I've been putting this off for 2 years because 1, I did not know where to get it, and 2, I was afraid that it was going to be like the worst pain I've ever felt for like the longest time, and I'm a big baby when it comes to pain. And I have many panic attacks when I go into tattoo parlors and certain things I can't do by myself. Like, for instance, this was one of those things where I was like, if I have to do this alone, I think I'm going to resent, like, everybody that I've ever considered close. But I did not. Option 1 was not able to come with me, even though technically then she was. And then option 2 was totally like, yeah, sure, okay, cool, I'm doing this, so we're gonna have to go then. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm not doing anything now anyway, so let's just, get this over with. Yeah, you know, okay, whatever you say, and then proceeds to have small panic attacks for the entirety of the extent of the ride downtown. So anywhoozle, pain-wise, was like, on a scale of 1 to 7, I can't even say 1 to 7 because then my answer is going to seem more extreme than it is. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 2. It was like a 2. Like, this might have been the least painful piercing I've ever gotten. The most painful still being my industrial. And then that being like 2 holes, like sliding a needle through my ear that you've just mutilated with said needle, followed by mutilating the other end of my ear with another hole that hurts like a bitch. And oh my god, are we done yet? Compared to like this, which I have no idea what method they used. I also have no idea what kind of bar is under there. Preferably the one with holes, because, you know, for like, I feel like $112 for this, price-wise. I'm pretty sure there are cheaper places that I can go. But I live in New York, and this is Taurus Central. And I went to St. Mark's Street because I don't know that many piercers, especially those who are like conveniently located in the city at like halfway points. And I figured I was, you know, I went outside to find a place, and then I did not want to venture out of that place. I usually go and get my piercings. I usually get certain piercings at cheap spots. When it comes down to, like, there isn't a main artery that they can hit, so I'm not going to bleed to death. And this is fairly simple, so I don't need, like, a surgeon. Like, when it comes down to my second septum, yes, those are two. It's not just a fancy display. It's two separate nose piercings. I got the second one pierced because I thought that two looked cool. And it does. No regrets. Like, the guy had pierced. Now my nose kind of sits, well, down here kind of sits weird. Because the second septum, like the first one, the gold one, is in like the sweet spot for septum piercings. Like if you ever want to get your septum pierced, that spot right there is where they should be placing it 100% of the time. Like in between the cartilage, it's all fine and dandy. And the second one is like in a not so sweet spot. Like it's a sweet spot that you have to make, but not so much. Not one of those places where it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna bleed out and it's gonna cause an infection, then I'm gonna lose my whole nose. No. It's kind of like one of those, okay, so I'm gonna pull this skin down and expose the, what's that stuff called? The cartilage under your nose. So now when you, like, touch my nose, which nobody touches my nose, I'm pretty sure, I may never experience a significant other as weird as myself, so I'm pretty sure nobody's going to be sitting there and just, like, sliding their finger under my septum to feel how weird it feels. But I just realized I got really off topic. But I digress. But yeah, that's never going to happen, so no one's really going to know what that feels like. But that's in, like, a not-so-sweet spot. And that one I got at St. Mark's Place. At one of those cheaper places. But this is like, you know, kind of a delicate situation that could be excruciatingly painful. So I went to a very good piercer. I actually searched all the artificial piercing shops on the strip. Not just like the, hey, come in, we do piercings, like where I got this and this one done, and possibly another one. Possibly, that's a good question. How many things have I gotten pierced at St. Mark's Street? St. Mark's Place. I think just those 2.5. This being, you know, 1 and 2. But anywho, I got this at a professional. I actually went to this place called Culture. And they were like, hey, so if you want to get that place there, you should go across the street. Because they have better stuff. And I was like, okay. Anyway, the pain was like a 2. It was like very uncomfortable. And it kind of hurt. Like, I keep wanting to say a lot, but it didn't hurt a lot. Like, it was very uncomfortable. And it was like somebody was pinching me with their nails. Not even. Like, they were pinching me very hard because they were, like, really mad at me. But they also didn't want to seem like they were mad at me. So they didn't want to inflict, like, actual damage. One of those situations. At the end of this video, I will insert the video, because this is like the one experience that I had, the one piercing that I went out and like recorded. How fun. I had my friend Dell there. He was holding my hand and recording. So yeah, he had a fun job. And turns out that I was just being a big baby. Now that I got this one, it's like, I'm not afraid of getting any more, because it's like, okay, it's gonna hurt that much and be over that fast? Okay, cool. So it's not like the uncomfort of getting a regular piercing where they like puncture the skin and it creates a hole. It's, well, at least for me anyway, I have a very high pain tolerance. I'm just a big baby, but I have a very high pain tolerance. And my location right here, as I said, it's kind of in the perfect location. Sometimes I kind of have no idea where the hell it is, because it always feels like it moves. But my body isn't straight, as I stated previously, therefore it's never in the same place. And me sitting, as you can, well, you probably can't tell how the camera is, but I'm like slouching forward. This is my knee, and this is my shoulder, and it's like where my knee is, because I have scoliosis and I can't sit up straight. I mean, I could, but I subconsciously start slouching. It just feels more comfortable, you know? Anyway, getting into the spiritual aspect of it, I have this right at the base of my throat, and half of the time it feels like an opening, kind of like a spiritual opening. Like if I get really anxious, then I'll feel like all the anxiety bubbling up right here, and I usually get the paranoia that it's gonna get ripped out even when I'm not doing anything. So I'll just be like sitting there, and it's got tugged on maybe 2-3 times. Once by a necklace, and then I stopped wearing that necklace. Not this necklace, ironically. This is one with my stones on it. And they relatively get along. It was this one with the arrowhead that kind of snagged at it. And with that one I heard a pop. But thankfully it wasn't anything severe. It was just kind of like I had the arrowhead tied on there a certain way and it popped out, which was scary. And then I was changing my shirts the other time, and my thumbnail kind of snagged under. I went under it and then pulled up. That was somewhat painful for a few moments before it was just kind of like, oh my god, what have I done? Usually after things like that happen, I apply pressure. So I just hold it there. And I try to get a good feel, see if it's like flat around it. I have no idea how big the plate is, because I did not want to look, because this whole thing was traumatic for me. Well, it wasn't traumatic, but I thought it would be traumatic. So I didn't want to look. I have no idea how big it is, but I don't really feel anything under it. So if, in times like, oh, I can feel it now. The one with the bar that kind of extends, like, let's see if this helps a little bit. It's got a bar. Zoom in. Oh, I can zoom in. Yeah, look how terribly awesome that quality is. It's got like a bar that stops right here. I'm trying to find it now. Stops up right here, which is pretty cool. I'm going to zoom in. I want to zoom out. Also, I'm pretty sure it has holes, and I'm totally gonna have this forever. For some reason, everybody's like, oh, it's a semi-permanent piercing. I was like, how is it semi-permanent if you're implanting it into your body? Then your skin grows through it. But I mean, I guess I can see how these reject all the time, because if you like snag it, or pull it, or whatever, and then your body rejects it, but, you know, those kinds of things only happen to reckless people who aren't like OCD. about these kinds of things who put band-aids on them all the time for reasons. And no, I don't put band-aids on mine all the time. Just, you know, situations in which I feel that other people are going to be reckless around me. So, like sex. It's a good time to have a band-aid over it. Just kind of like, I don't know if you're going to try to touch my throat, but I'm not going to enjoy myself if I have to constantly keep track of where on my body your hand is, and if you're close to it. And I feel like this is a really good position for it. None of my shirts go up here, and well, as you can see, this sweater is very baggy, like most of my sweaters, and I usually wear zip-ups that also don't go anywhere near up here. And then it's low enough on my neck that my chokers don't touch it. And if I do get choked, their hands usually don't go anywhere near. It's usually like right below where their hands are, which is a great location. So if anybody's out there thinking about getting a microdermal in this placement, I recommend it. The place I told the person to put it was right under the dip in my neck. That's exactly where it is. Like sometimes, depending on how my body is, it's like right below the bone, where the bone starts, and there's this little fleshy sack, little sack of flesh for it to sit on. I'm a little distracted. There's like food in my teeth, and I kind of want to get it out now. Anyhoozle. Now it's in my mouth. Anyhoozle. Is there anything else I can say? Microdermals aren't as scary as we big babies think they are. They are very pretty, and mine hasn't hurt since I got it. Technically, it hasn't hurt at all, because after he shoved it in there, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, what now? And then the only time it would hurt is if I poked it real hard, or if I like accidentally almost ripped it out, or like, nope, that's about it. And even then, it was like a achy kind of pain for like 2 days after. Well, not for like 2 days after. 2 days after I got it, there was an achy kind of pain. But yeah. I feel more open. Spiritually, emotionally, I feel more vulnerable. And I feel like there's a bigger withdrawal for not speaking my mind and or allowing things to happen in a manner that goes against my better interests. Ooh. You know, apparently there's a Tales of Dunk and Egg, the entire trilogy on YouTube. It's like 10 hours long. I didn't know that. My PlayStation is open to YouTube because I'm about to watch a few videos about microdermals, ironically. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, please put them in the comment section below. And yeah, I love you guys, and you look really pretty today. Did you do something with your hair? Oh, that's nice. I like it. You should do that more often. Alright. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, in case I don't see you.
Big deep breath in for me, and release. How you feeling? Okay?
Uh-huh.
You're not feeling lightheaded or dizzy, right?
Nope.
Cool. You made it through it. That's it. We're just opening it up a little bit, okay? How are you feeling, alright? That wasn't too bad, right?
No. Far less painful than I was expecting it to be.
Go take a look.